and dominion. My people, please, with a great clapping, can we welcome our able facilitator, Dr. Pastor Mrs. Ifoma Eze. All right, you're welcome once again, ma. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adamidala, for the introduction. I appreciate greatly. And welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a good break. I know the first session was really, really long, but I'm hopeful that this second session will be snappy and we'll get a lot of value out of it. So hope you had a good break and welcome back to class. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Afolabi, for the hands you put together. All right, so having gone through the module 1, where we talked about the introduction of emotional intelligence, we were able to x-ray what emotional intelligence itself means, and we're able to talk about how it relates to different behaviors and different individuals. We're able to talk about emotional hijack, and then we now stepped into Module 2, where we talked about the competencies of emotional intelligence. We're able to let you know that emotional intelligence has 3 major competencies: the personal competence, the emotional competence, and the social competence. We're able to share with you the necessity for self-awareness and self-regulation, and we talked about social awareness and relationship management. And we're able to do all of that in this module 2. Now, this is module 3, and in module 3, having learned what emotional intelligence is and having understood the competencies of emotional intelligence, how then do we apply all of this? Because the essence of knowledge is application. Knowledge not applied is useless. It is one thing to know something, but it is better to do something. Now, how do we apply it in daily life? And that's what we're going to look at module 3, which is building influence. The reason why we need to build influence is because at the end of the day, what you have learned from emotional intelligence is supposed to make your relationship with other people better. So in this particular module, we'll be x-raying how to build influence and how to influence people positively. Because the essence of life is influence. It was George Bernard that said that leadership is influence. Without influence, there is no leadership. So while you may be in this class, you need to know that beyond being in this class, you're a leader in a certain capacity. It may not be the particular, you may not be seeing yourself as one big leader, but you are truly a leader. As long as you have 1 or 2 or 3 people who are looking up to you. But in this class, we're going to teach you how much more people can even look up to you. And that's why we're looking at building influence. So, welcome to class. We'll be looking at the following course objectives. All right, so I want help me share the slide for the course of the objectives of this module. So we're going to basically be talking about explaining influence. Then we'll look at how to influence people, and we'll be looking at the principles of influence. We'll also talk about the strategies of influencing people. We'll explain the role of communication to build influence. I will explain the role of active listening to build influence. What role does body language play and how to influence people? Then we'll be looking at how to control the actions and attitudes of others, how to explain and also explain the relationship between influence and yourself and how to influence different personalities. So we'll be giving tips for influencing people, and that's how we'll round up this class. So welcome once again. Please take a look at the images of the people given in this slide. Can you see the slide? I'm sure if you can see the slide, please type 11 so that I'm sure that everybody can see the slides very well. All right, so I'm sure you recognize a few of these people on the slide. What do you think is common among all of them? What do you think is common among all of them? Your guess is as good as mine. What is common amongst most of them is that they were all famous people, and they were very highly influential in their respective fields. Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Afolabi, to answer correctly. Influence. Influence is one thing that is key, that links all of them, that is common amongst every one of them. So we see Mahatma Gandhi, we see Adolf Hitler, we see Usher, we see Michael Jackson. Now let's take a look at them one after the other. Mahatma Gandhi influenced an entire nation to follow the path of nonviolence and gain its freedom. So Mahatma Gandhi is a very famous man in India. He really did a lot of good work. In fact, there are statues of him in most places because he was a man of influence. Many books have been written about him. Many wonderful, inspiring stories have equally been told about him. Also, we have Adolf Hitler. Now, I like you to know that influence can be positive and influence can equally be negative. But of course, in this class, our focus will be on the positive influence. But you see that Adolf Hitler influenced an entire nation to fulfill his fanatic ambitions. Whatever he said that made people feel it was okay to kill 6 million Jews, it was influence. You know, we just keep focusing on the bad that people do, but there was something about him. Imagine somebody like Adolf Hitler, that he used his influence for good. Do you know the kind of lives he would have promoted, the kind of people the kind of good things that would have happened, but he used his influence for wrong. Another person is Osho. Osho influenced people across the world to follow his ideologies and created a throng of his followers across the globe. Honestly, you can take your time later on to read up deeply on all of these people. Now, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was known as the king of pop. For some of you who were part of the Model 2 class, you heard me mention Michael Jackson. And he influenced lots and lots of people, young and old, across the globe. And he was able to create a fan following that not only adored him, but they also tried to emulate his dressing, his dance style, and even his fashion. As I speak to you today, there is a live version of Michael Jackson. His name is Fabio Jackson. He looks just like him. He even went to modify his face using plastic surgery just to look exactly like Michael Jackson. If you see him at first glance, you would think, oh, is Michael still alive? But this is to tell you the level of influence that these people have had on others. So you can see that having influence on people is one of the key traits of becoming a leader and being successful in any field, whether it be politics, music, business, and emotional intelligence is so important. That is why it's important that you understand how to influence people. So we'll just be stepping in deeper so that we can learn how to influence people in more details. Before we begin, what then is influence? Influence simply means how you inspire others to take action. Influence means how you inspire others to take action. Influence is not sufficient until you have inspired others to take action. This is why George Banner, in his book, The Power of Vision, described leadership as the ability to influence people. He said that leadership is influence. Don't never call yourself a leader if you're not able to influence people. Please, next slide. Never call yourself a leader if you're not able to influence people. Influence is what makes you a leader. Influence measures what others do for you. Influence is a determinant, all right, of your ability to take people from the point where they are to where they truly desire to get to. So influence is how you inspire others to take action. Influence is usually measured using two metrics. What then are the metrics of influence? Number one, your ability to inspire action. And number two, outreach. What do we mean by your ability to inspire action? Your following, your likes, your ability, even within your organization, to make people do even what they don't feel like doing, to make people go the extra mile, to make people achieve the corporate vision, even the organizational goals. You may be working in an organization where you are a supervisor to others, but it is your responsibility to make those people who are your subordinates to do what they ought to do. Influence will make them do it without feeling bad about it, without feeling they're doing it just for the pay. They will do it passionately, they will do it happily. Let me ask you this question. How many of you have had children, your own children, when they were little, or maybe they're still little, and they would come back and they would tell you, my teacher said, almost in their vocabulary, you keep hearing my teacher said, I will give this to my teacher, I will do this for my teacher. It means that that teacher already has influence on that child. I remember being a school owner. One of the parents of the children in my school came to me one day and he was angry and lamenting. I was like, what's the matter? He said that his child will stand and then push his calf backward. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Like when you're standing, instead of standing straight, your legs, you are still standing, but you tilt them backward. So it happened that this particular teacher of that particular pupil was always standing in that way. And before long, his own child started standing in that way. The man said he was wondering where that kind of posture was coming from, and he was really worried about it until one day he now saw the teacher standing when he came to pick his child from school, and the teacher was standing exactly the way his son started standing. And the teacher was angry that the teacher was supposed to set a right precedence for the child on how to have good posture. Well, I understood what he was saying, and I knew that his son standing like that could also be detrimental to his own self-esteem in the future. So I had to call the teacher. And I told the teachers that you as a teacher, you're an image maker, okay? You're a model. So you have to be careful about the little things you do, even actions and inactions, things that you think that don't matter, that matter a lot. That is why if you see any organization where the leaders are misbehaving, you will see that in that organization, everybody will be misbehaving because leaders set precedents for whether good actions or whether it is bad actions. All right. So you can also measure influence through outreach, generosity, reaching out to others through your actions, interaction with others. These are other ways through which you can actually measure influence. So why do we need to influence people? What is the essence of influencing people? Why have we even talking about it under emotional intelligence? We said that emotional intelligence is your ability to understand yourself, to regulate and manage your emotions, and then tune into others in order to have a good relationship with them. Now, in the process of having a good relationship with them, influence is key. And that is why we are saying that influencing people will be beneficial, and it will be beneficial in the following ways. Number one, it helps to deal with people so they feel important and appreciated. If you were very active in the last module, in the last class we had before the break, we emphasized greatly on the need for you to make people feel important, to make people feel appreciated. Number two, it helps to handle people without making them feel manipulated. When you influence people to behave in a certain good way, they do it without feeling like anybody forced them to do it. Number three, it helps you to make someone want to do what you want them to do, be it organizational goals, be it a job target, be it a project. They do it willingly. It helps in arousing it helps in arousing someone to follow you and your instruction in others. Okay. It also will help you to make people like you. Okay. It will help you to learn how to make people like you. It will also help you to win people over to your way of thinking. Very, very important. The ability to influence people to think like you is an amazing ability. It helps to change people without causing offense or even arousing resentment. This is the reason why we influence. Every great leader you see is trying in one way or the other to influence his or her followers, to influence his or her subordinates. Now, one of the key traits of a successful person in profit, one of the key traits of a successful person is, as well in professional as well as in the personal front, is one who can influence people. Whether we're talking about your professional life, whether we're talking about your personal life, if you can influence people, you will easily be seen as a very successful person. So influencing people helps you to lead the people to a way of thinking and helps to prevent unnecessary conflicts and resentment. There is a very strong linear relationship between success and influence. Anyone you see who is succeeding, next slide, please. Anyone who you see who is succeeding is actually an influencer because that person is influencing people. Remember that in our modern time and in our modern age, next slide, please. In our modern time and in our modern age, we have people who call themselves influencers. These people are online and they even collect lots of money to be able to influence a particular product or service. And people get to buy, not because they really want the product, not because they know the person who is behind the product, but because they believe that if this influencer said anything about this product or this service, it must be a good one. Please, Dr. Benito, help me with the slide, please. All right. So I'd like us to talk about influence and success. As per a scientific study carried out on several people, it has been found that when you learn to influence people and learn how to deal with other people, then you will have 85% success in business. It was Daniel Goleman that said that people who have high emotional intelligence have an 85% chance of succeeding in life, much more than those who have only in IQ, that's the intellectual quotient. So it is good to know book, no doubt. But after you have known book, please have emotional intelligence. That's all we have been trying to hammer in this class. Number 2, you will have 99% of personal happiness because you have emotional intelligence, because you are somebody, you know how to manage your influence, you will certainly have 99% of personal happiness. This is not happiness that comes from anybody or anything. This is happiness that comes from deep within you, because within you, you know how to manage your emotions. Let's talk about ego. What is ego? Understanding the human ego is crucial when you want to learn to build influence and handle people. According to Edward Buck, what the world calls ego and conceit is really a divine spark planted in man, and that only those who have lighted the divine spark within them ever accomplish great things. Every human being is a special individual personality, and the most powerful drive in any person is to defend his human dignity and demand respect. Ego is more powerful than armies and prison camps. You can see it even in display, even in wars. Do you know that many countries have gone to war because of somebody's ego? Do you know that many relationships have been destroyed because of somebody's ego? Do you know that people have even lost their job because of ego? So every effort that has been made to deprive individuals of this thing called ego has failed. Now, these are the few important facts about human ego. We are all egoists to a certain level. Your own ego may be small, it may be big, but we all of us have ego to a certain level. We are most interested in ourselves than in anything else. Every person we meet wants to feel important and to amount to something. Now, when we know all of this, it will help us to influence them better. There is a craving in everyone for the approval of others so that he or she can approve of themselves. Now, having known this, it will help you greatly to understand that if you must be a man or a woman of influence while applying emotional intelligence, you must understand these basic traits in people, and that will help you to make people feel important. So make people feel important in order to influence them. One of the most important aspects of influencing people is to first of all make people feel important. You should remember that everyone has a point of view and everyone has their own ego. Call people by name, reach out to them, find out what they are feeling per time. The quickest way to improve our dealings with people is to begin by giving importance to the other person, even if it is the gate man, even if it is security guy. Make them understand that the work they do within that organization is important and pivotal to the success of the organization. If the cleaner doesn't clean, the ambience and excellence that you're supposed to have within your organization will not happen. So it's important that we make others feel important. And how can you make others feel important? Number one, you have to think that other people are important. We said all of this in the previous class. Notice people, don't compete with people, know when to correct others, okay? You must not win an argument every time. Let people feel that they are important, boost their morale, boost their ego. When you recognize the things they do, okay, we should notice them. We should make sure that their importance is being felt and recognized, and the good things they do are rewarded, because everyone wants to feel important and everyone wants to feel like their hard work or their contribution to work to the organization is actually felt. So please try to be nice to people no matter what it costs. Don't try to win all the arguments. Sometimes just allow the ego to pass. Now, let's talk about principles of influence. What are the principles of influencing people? If we want to influence people, there are basic principles that we should keep handy. We're going to look at each and every one of them in detail. We have commitment and consistency. We have reciprocation. We have scarcity, authority, liking, and social proof. We're going to be taking them one after the other. Now, let's talk about commitment and consistency.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, can I just make an announcement? Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry, please, for the sake of those that are just joining in, if you've not made your payment, we recommend that you use the YouTube channel. We will not want to remove you, but we will put you in the chat in the waiting room. So we'll put up the YouTube link right now. If you've not paid, please kindly use the YouTube. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much for the announcement. All right. So we're looking at the principles of influence. Let's start with commitment and consistency. Until a person is committed, there is hesitancy. All right. The person will be hesitant. The person will not want to do anything. There will be drawback. Okay. So the chances to draw back, and there are chances that the person will draw back and the person will be ineffective. So when somebody is committed, it's you know that with commitment, you see that there are high chances of influence. Consistency is important because repetition of the same thought or physical action develops into a habit which, repeated frequently enough, becomes an automatic reflex. The commitment and consistency rule states that once we make a decision, we will experience pressure from others and ourselves to behave consistently with that decision. As per this principle, a person can be pressured into making either good or bad decisions depending on his commitment and consistency of behavior. So when somebody is consistent, when somebody is committed, the chances of influencing the person is high. Let's talk about reciprocation. Reciprocation is important in order to influence others, because when you give yourself, you receive more than you give. This is because trying to get without first giving is as fruitless as trying to reap without having sown. When the requester first presents the other person with an initial favor or initial concession, the requester will have enlisted a powerful ally in the campaign for compliance. People generally succumb to the reciprocity rule, all right? And then they will comply with the requester's wish. The rule of reciprocation states that humans have an inherent desire to return favors. By doing a favor, you can influence a person to return the favor in the form of buying your products or your services. So you can see the reciprocity rule or principle applying even in this class. In the first module, we gave it out to you free. We allowed everyone to be in the Zoom class. The second module, we also allowed everybody to enter the class free. But this time around, we are not saying, okay, you have to make sure that you make your payment, because when you make that payment, then you have reciprocated the good gesture we did by allowing you to have a taste of this class without even paying a dime. Next one is scarcity. The principle of scarcity states that when we are more easily persuaded, that we are more easily persuaded when the resource is limited. Have you tried to buy something ever and you hear like limited spaces, limited products available? Or we want to register for a course, we hear limited spaces available. All of those things are people using and applying emotional intelligence, knowingly or even unknowingly, to create a sense of scarcity. The primary reason scarcity is so effective for influencing people is that generally we are more motivated by loss than gain. Scarcity implies rarity, high quality, and high demand. All influences that increase our demand for the resource. All influences that increase our demand for the resource, you can adapt the same scarcity principle in everyday conversation for influencing people. Like you can tell somebody it's a limited time, it's a rare opportunity, is high demand because it's popular. You know, these are scarcity phrases and they appeal to both the left and right brain functions because they are verbal and mathematical emotional intelligence. Do you remember when we talked about verbal emotional intelligence and we talked about mathematical and logical emotional intelligence? This is what we refer to when we're trying to explain that to you. All right, let's talk about authority. Authority plays a major role in influencing people. However, you should remember that you don't have to hold a position in order to be a leader. So the principle of authority states that we are more easily persuaded by those in authority. This is why most of us have capability to make changes, positive changes, even in our nation. But because we are not in positions of authority, nobody hears our voices. Because we're not in position of authority, nobody knows the change that we can bring. But I would always advise that we start making change one person at a time from where we are until we are given the platform. As a matter of fact, it is the little changes you make where you are in your environment, in your workplace, that eventually speaks for you when you eventually arrive. All right. So the three typical symbols of authority are title, clothing, and perceivable wealth. People easily listen to somebody with a title. All right. Some people easily listen to somebody who is well dressed. You'd be like, this person cannot be well dressed and be talking rubbish. This person has something to say. And also we get influenced easily when we see somebody who has perceivable wealth. We know this person is wealthy. So of course they must be saying something. So when we talk about titles, it could be a doctor, a professor. You'd be like, oh, this person is a learned person. And when we talk about authority, it consists of the position that the person occupies, all right? Or even perceivable wealth talks about the clothing the person is wearing, the house they own, the jewelry they have, and maybe the businesses that they are CEOs of. Example, if you want to learn how to develop your business for explosive growth, would you rather listen to a professor in the classroom or would you rather listen to somebody who has made money, like a billionaire? It's easy to listen to somebody who has made that wealth. All right. So that's it about authority. Let's talk about liking. An important principle of influencing people is that leadership comes through with respect, and a large part of respect comes from liking someone. This is because each person is liked by their own each person is led by their own liking. The principle of liking says that people will easily say yes to you more often than they choose, all right? If there is a situation of choosing who will likely follow your request between a complete stranger versus somebody who really likes you, the person who really likes you will easily follow you. There are 6 principles of liking. Number 1, you need physical attractiveness. You need to look good for people to like you. Number 2, you need to be familiar with them. You can't be a stranger and expect them to like you. Number 3, you have to give out compliments. All right, learn to compliment everyone. As you walk into your office, compliment the gate man, compliment the receptionist at the door, compliment your other colleagues before you get to your seat to sit down. Throw away compliments loosely, and before you know it, people will start returning it back to you. Association is essential. Who you know, who you hang out with will determine how people perceive you equally. Your cooperation and similarity are all important for liking. The next one I like to share with you is social proof. You should remember that people are like sheep, all right, of which a flock is more easily driven than a single one. The 6th principle of influence is social proof, and it states that people look to others to follow what they are doing. Most people follow people. They don't even want to know who the person is or what the person is doing. My friends are following, my family members, my relatives are following, and they just automatically follow. Hence, in order to influence people, it is better to create an impression and influence a mass of people to follow you, which leads the other people to follow you automatically, which means that where there is a crowd, there are chances to have more crowd because there is an already existing crowd. All right, let me share with you the strategies of influencing people. They are, you can pick any of them. You can pick a number of them. It's not a must. You have to do tackle all the strategies. You can use some of them to be able to build your influence over people. All right, so let's talk about strategies of building influence, strategies of influencing people. Okay. Number 1, say less than necessary. Nobody likes a talkative. When trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear and the less in control. Number 2, guard your reputation. Reputation is the cornerstone of influence, and through reputation, you can intimidate and win. Next, always capture attention. When you're in a crowd, please stand out and be conspicuous as much as you can. Okay, make yourself a magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colorful, more mysterious. You get people interested in who you are. Also, make other people to come to you. When you make the other person to come to you, you are the one in control. Also, win through actions, but not arguments. It is much more influential to get others to agree with you through your actions without even saying a word. So demonstrate, do not explicate. To maintain your influence, you must always be needed and wanted. So keep people dependent on you. The more you are relied upon, the more influence you will have. Influence people by showing them what lies in it for their benefit and emphasize it out of proportion. This is something that transformational leaders do a lot. They are able to talk about that big vision, that vision that will change everybody's life. And it makes people to really, really, really get interested because you are appealing to their interest. Now, the more you are seen and heard from, the more common you appear. So use scarcity to create value. Use scarcity to create value. You need to learn when to leave the scene, all right? When to leave the scene. It is commonly said that you should leave the scene when the ovation is still loud. Don't wait for it to grow cold before you move. So never isolate yourself. Another way to influence people is that don't isolate yourself. How will you say you want to influence people, but you cut yourself off from people? You like to just be alone in your tiny corner, just with yourself. Circulate amongst people, find allies, mingle, all right? Don't cut yourself off from valuable information. It makes you conspicuous, and then makes you an easy target. Never offend anyone. Everyone will not react to your strategies in the same way. So sometimes people will may not like the way you shared your vision, but please, no matter what, try not to offend anyone. Then also apply the surrender tactics. Next slide, please. Apply the surrender tactics. When you are weaker, never fight for honor's sake. Choose surrender instead. Don't fight to your last. When you fight and you leave and you run, you fight to live, you live to fight another day, right? So conserve your forces and energies by keeping them concentrated on your strongest points. Concentrate your forces. Also learn how to recreate yourself. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the master of your own image. Use people's need to believe. People have an overwhelming desire to believe. Become the focal point of such desire by offering them a cause, a new faith to follow. Even in these times of hardship, people need some faith because their faith is failing them, their confidence in the government and the economy. But you can be that one that they look up to, that they know that will help in one little way to make a difference. No matter what, keep your hands clean. Keep your hands clean. You must seem an ideal role model of civility and efficiency for you to influence people. Enter action with boldness. Everyone admires the bold. No one honors the timid. You have to plan to the end. By planning to the end, you will not be overwhelmed by circumstances and you will know when to stop. You know when your energy can carry you. Next, your action must seem natural and executed with ease. So make your accomplishments seem effortless. Make it look like, this thing, I can do it with a snap of my finger until they go to try. When they try, they will now come back and say, oh, you are trying, you're doing a great job, because this is, we try to do it and it's not easy. It's just like teaching in class and speaking for almost 3 hours, 4 hours at a stretch. Sometimes we make it look effortless, but honestly, for most people, it's actually a struggle. So give people options that come out in your favor, whichever one they choose. If you want to be an influencer, you have to control the options. Make sure that you understand. Make sure that you understand how to give out options that no matter which one they choose, it eventually ends up within your plan. Play to people's fantasies. I'm not saying you should lie to them, okay? I'm not saying you should tell people that is not that or be deceitful. No, I'm just saying that you should when you speak, tap into the fantasies of the masses. Transformational leaders know how to do this. They know that people are tired of where they are. And when they speak to inspire hope. They speak to inspire faith. They speak to inspire the next level for people. Everyone has a weakness and you can turn this weakness to your advantage. This especially is beneficial when you are negotiating, all right? The way you carry yourself will often determine how influential you are and how you are treated. So create your image through your attire. Never dress shabbily. If you want to influence people, you must master the art of timing. Never seem to be in a hurry. Hurry betrays a lack of control over yourself. And if over time, merge with others. Influence people by blending in with them and nurturing the common touch of the group. Stay calm. Anger, emotional hijack are strategically counterproductive. You must always stay calm and objective if you want to influence people. Remember that when you strike the leader, the head will follow. So influence and impress the leader of the group, and the rest of the group will automatically be influenced by you. Work on the hearts of people and minds of others. You must seduce others into wanting to move in your direction by operating on their individual psychologies and weaknesses. You heard MTN, say MTN wherever, everywhere you go. When you go to a place, maybe you're planning to travel to the village, you're planning to travel to or go hiking, you begin to think of the network that will go with you everywhere you go. Okay? Never appear to be too perfect. Nobody likes the perfect one. It is smart to occasionally display defects and admit to harmless vices in order to deflect envy and appear more human and approachable. Nobody likes somebody who claims to be too perfect, like they have no error, they have no weaknesses. That is why as leaders, sometimes it pays to really be transparent, to let people know that you are struggling with something. If you were in my previous class in the first in the module 2, I started it out by telling you that I had a very terrible day. Something bad happened to me, but I was able to regulate myself, control my emotions, and I was able to still come to the class to share with you. You know, it tells you that, well, even the facilitator can have a bad day. Who am I not to have a bad day, you know? And then it helps you to also know that you can still achieve anything you want even when you have a bad day, and the bad day even comes to the very best of us, right? So use the mirror effect. You can influence people by using the mirror effect, by holding up a mirror to their psychics. You'd seduce them with the illusion that you share their values. Reform slowly. People are creatures of habit. Don't make changes all at once at the same time. Make gentle improvements slowly. Now, let's talk about how communication affects influence. Effective communication is important to influence people because it is about how information is sent and received between people. It is crucial for working successfully with others. Communication enables you to maintain relationships. Communication allows you to accomplish tasks while working with both individuals and groups. With communication, you can motivate people, and when you motivate people, you influence them. With communication, it helps to overcome, it helps you or your group to overcome obstacles. It also creates a comfortable, trustful, and psychologically safe feeling with people. So why do we need communication? I've shared them all with you. Now let me share with you the guides, the 7 C's for effective communication. These are the guidelines for effective communication. Do you want to be an effective communicator? Then these are the things that you have to follow, things you have to know and follow. Number 1 is clarity. Whenever you want to communicate, make sure that you are clear. Make sure that the people you are talking to understand what you are saying. Don't be ambiguous. Don't say things vaguely. Make sure you are communicating very, very clearly. We're at the 7 C's of effective communication. Number 2, completeness. Don't say things half and half. There are people that when they start saying something, their thoughts fade. They can't recollect again what it was they were trying to say. And before you know it, they have dropped that topic there and picked up on that topic. Number 3, conciseness. Don't talk till the whole day passes. I know that our class has been long, but don't try to bring it together so that when somebody listens to you, for the first 5 minutes, you're already making sense, all right? For the first 5 minutes, you're already saying something that means something. Please, Mr. Moses, help us to mute your mic, okay? So that the class can be a bit quiet, okay? Thank you. All right. So be concise. Say what you want to say. Bring it all together. Make sense on time. The next one is consideration. When we talk about consideration, we mean the you attitude. Consider people. Be empathetic. When you're talking to people, please understand that it could be you. Anything could happen. Don't talk to people as if they're your slaves. Even when you get an opportunity to be the one that is their superior, understand that it could have been them equally. So understand the attitude, be gentle, be kind. People will never forget how you make them feel. I'm telling you, please, if you heard me, type it in the chat room. People never forget how you make them feel. They can forget what you taught them. They can forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Correctness, accuracy, make sure that what you are saying is correct. Don't be like somebody, you'll be giving an example and you'll be saying the wrong thing. Some time ago, somebody said that the cheetah was the fastest animal. And right there, in that same conference, people started Googling it. And people found out that the cheetah was actually not the fastest animal. And they started saying it is really not. They started raising their hands. Don't be like, don't find yourself in that situation. And the next one is concreteness. Let what you're saying be concrete. Don't be a two-mouthed person. You're speaking from this side of your mouth and you're also speaking from the other side of your mouth. When you communicate, you want to influence people, please be concrete. Stand your ground, stand your moral ground. Let your values and your belief system not be compromised at all. And then the number 7 is courtesy. Please make sure that you are courteous in your communication with people. You want to influence people, be courteous. Treat them well. Speak to them nicely. Ladies and gentlemen, all right? Address them properly. Don't address people in a way that you make them angry at the end of the day. This is very important. Now, let's quickly talk about some barriers of effective communication. Inaccurate interpretation is a barrier because it will cause your message not to get, it will cause a message not to be understood, all right? So ignoring or misunderstanding nonverbal signals or implicit messages, this is a result of inaccurate interpretation. Selective perception. Selecting only certain elements from a message will make people not to understand what it is you are trying to say. Then linguistic impact of language. There's a way you can be speaking the same English you are speaking of, but your speed is too fast. The tone with which you are saying it in a certain way. I don't even want to give examples, so people won't think I'm being stereotypical. But if it's English that is your main language, please learn it properly so that you can speak it properly, okay? Very, very important. Thank you so much. The chat room is bursting with life, and I'm really, really grateful. Thank you, Etubi Abraham. Thank you so much, Mary Omezia, Lady Mary Omezia. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Afola B. Thank you so much for your comments in the chat room. Please, let's keep it coming. All right. So another thing is semantics. Different perceptions, meanings that different people attach to the same word. Do you know that I remember when we were much younger, you dare not refer to your senior as guys. Now, the children of this 21st century will look at their parents and say, you guys are back. And it doesn't mean anything. In different cultures, different things mean different things. So if you want to influence people, please try to use the right words, as the wrong words may be perceived wrongly. Another one is another barrier to effective communication is physical. Sometimes you can be physically tired. You may not be hearing properly. Your sight may not be perfect, or you may be having speech problems, or even if the environment could even be noisy, or you could be having technical problems. Then grammar, spelling, punctuation, and sentence structure, all of this can constitute barriers to effective communication. So if you're not hearing properly, you can use a hearing aid. If you're not seeing properly, you can use an eyeglass. If you're having technical problems, try to find out which network is more reliable. Imagine if we were teaching in this class and then every 1 minute I was getting logged off and coming back, it would be a problem. Emotional and psychological matters, issues can also cause barriers in communication. Because sometimes people can be expressing emotions, being defensive, negative, assertive, even conflict from religion, different opinions in religion, different opinions in politics can also create all of this. Another one is gender roles, expectations, traditions. People expect different genders to have different roles. People expect in certain parochial climes, ladies are expected to be all secretaries, while the guys are supposed to be CEOs and stuff like that. So all of these things can affect. Then when a lady in such an environment is the CEO and is trying to give an instruction or trying to influence, they begin to look at her in a certain way. So all of those things affect expectations and perceptions, right? Another one is culture, cultural differences. People have different kinds of culture, and this culture have different kinds of idioms and expressions, and this can affect communication. I remember a particular supervisor I used to have in one of my postgraduate degree programs. Everything he was saying, he would add ishi to it. So he'll be like, look at the background of your study. For the background of your ishi study, you have to look at what is the problem. Ishi, he kept using that kind of this thing. And I didn't know what the ishi meant, but I think it was already a kind of way he expressed himself. So I was not understanding half of the things he was saying. Thankfully, he as a supervisor was changed before I could even know what to do with myself in that particular thesis I was working on. So all of this and more constitutes barriers to communication. Now, how do we overcome these barriers? I'd like you to look at the screen. I'm sure you can see how overcoming barriers. Can you see it on the screen? Overcoming barriers. Please, let's take a look. Yeah. Can you help me type anyone that you think is a key to overcoming barrier? Please type it in the comment section. Any one of them that you can pick out. So to overcome barriers, you need to speak louder and reduce your background noise. You also need to ask for clarification instead of just making assumptions. Listen attentively, think rationally, eliminate perceptions, all right? Use sign languages or written communication. Learn to ask valid questions and be mature about it. That way you can help overcome barrier to communication. All right. So in influencing people, you need to know how to ask questions. The right question is essential. And there are different ways through which you ask questions. A questioning technique, they include open questions, where you ask a question that helps somebody to, the respondent to share their feelings and their opinions. And you ask closed questions when you just want to evoke a response that is just a short and factual answer. You ask funnel questions, which lead to other questions. You ask probing questions, especially when you want to get clarification. You ask leading questions when you want to lead the respondent to your way of thinking. You ask rhetorical questions, which are actually not questions at all, but nobody's expected to answer because you just want to engage the listener. Now, let's talk about listening to build influence, page 59. Listening to build influence. It is key that if you want to build influence, you must learn to listen. You must be a listener. If you want to build influence, you must be a listener, because how do you influence people if you are not listening to them? Listening, especially active listening, is crucial to influencing others, because active listening helps you to look at the person while the person is talking. It will help you to appear deeply interested. It will help you to lean towards the person. It will even help you to ask relevant questions. So avoid interrupting the other person when they're asking a question or when they're saying something. Get more information by questioning. Stick to the speaker's subject. Use the speaker's words to get your point across. All right? So let us learn more about active listening and how we can use it to build influence. The most important aspects of communication is listening. If you want to be able to influence people, then you will have to be able to listen. Active listening is essential to influencing those around you. You have to listen well. And why would you need to listen well? Because listening is important, as it helps us to obtain information. It helps us to understand better. It helps us to enjoy our communication with somebody. It also helps us to learn. It has been found through various studies that we remember 25% and 50% of what we hear. So what is important is for us to become an active listener. Active listening involves making a conscious effort to hear not only the words of the speaker, but also to try to understand the complete message being sent by that person. Now, there are key elements of active listening. The first one is pay attention. Pay your complete attention to the speaker and acknowledge the message. Look at the speaker directly. When somebody is talking to you, look at the speaker directly. Don't be keeping your eye on your phone. And many of us, somebody is talking to you, will not keep your eye where and look at the person that is talking to you. Yes, thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Afolabi. You said questions by asking for clarification instead of assuming. Excellent point there. So, to pay attention, don't get distracted from listening by environmental factors. Listen to the speaker's body language, listen to the words coming from their mouth, refrain from side conversations when listening in a group setting. Show that you are listening. Show the speaker that you are listening by using your own body language and gestures. Nod occasionally, all right? Nod occasionally, smile, and use your other facial expressions. Keep your posture inviting, okay? Keep your posture inviting. Don't stay in a way as if with your body language, you're telling the person, I'm not listening to you, okay? Then next slide, please. Use small verbal comments like yes, to encourage the speaker to continue. So provide feedback. Paraphrase what the person is saying and say it back to the person. So the person will know that, okay, you are getting me, you are listening to me. Ask questions to clarify certain points. Summarize the speaker's comments periodically. Another way to listen actively is that you have to defer judgment. Allow the speaker to finish. Don't assume, oh, when they start speaking, say, because he's from here, because she's from there, because she's this, because you just assume everything they're trying to say already. Don't interrupt the speaker with counter arguments. Respond appropriately. Be frank and open and honest in your response. Put forth your opinions respectfully. Treat the other person as you would like yourself to be treated. If you notice very well, you see that all of these things are key competencies in emotional intelligence. How you relate to people, how you talk to people, how you treat them, how you tune into their own feelings in order to be able to relate well with them. Now we are next onto using the body language to influence people. The role of body language in influencing people. Now, I'd like you to know that nonverbal communication, also known as body language, forms the difference between the words people speak and our understanding of what they are saying. Assuming you ask me, how are you? And I say, I'm fine. Would you believe I'm fine? Certainly not. Because from my tone, you can notice that what I'm saying, what I answered, and the tone is not corresponding, right? So, additionally, the tone of voice, the rate of speech, and the pitch of the voice all add to the words that are being said. We can use the knowledge of body language to portray a positive self-image and also understand other people well. Remember, emotional intelligence is all about understanding yourself and understanding other people. We can understand people better if we develop an understanding of the signs and signals of the body language. Body language includes body movements and gestures, legs, arms, hands, head, torso, posture, muscle tension, eye contact, skin coloring, flushed, whether it's flushed red, even people's breathing rate and perspiration will tell us if they are communicating right or wrong. Now, some of the common signs of body language of a confident person are, you see it in their posture. They stand tall with their shoulders. You see it in their speech. The speech is slow and clear. You see it in their eye contact. They keep a solid eye contact with a smiling face. Their tone of voice is moderate to low, and the gestures are purposeful and deliberate. So let's take a look at some common signs of body language when you're speaking to somebody who may be feeling defensive. Their facial expressions are minimal. Their hand gestures are small and close to his or her body. Body is physically turned away from you. Eyes maintain little or no contact. Arms are crossed in front of the body. And when that happens through the body language, you can know that, this person, I'm not influencing this person at all, because of the way the person is behaving. Now, let's look at the slide of giving feedback. Feedback is essential in influence as it is in emotional intelligence, because feedback is a type of communication that we give or we get. It is a critical assessment or suggestion made for improvement. Feedback is crucial in communication as it helps us to have honest relationship. Giving feedback helps to let you know how effective they are and helps to build influence among people. Provide an important feedback which is not offensive. Your approach in providing feedback helps to build influence and creates effective work relationships which are free from conflict and hard influence and hard feelings. If you want to really influence people, whether in your job, workplace, or at your job, at your business, at home, you need to learn how to give feedback, because you want them to keep telling you to keep doing the right thing. So if you want to influence them to do the right thing, reward the right thing. When the right thing is done, reward it, celebrate it. How does a teacher make a child excel in school? By saying, wonderful, good boy, good girl, congratulations. All of these things make them want to do more so they can hear that word again. So there are types of feedback. Some of them are positive, some of them are negative, all right? And they are as follows. We have indirect feedback. And these issues are not addressed directly, and the feedback is vague, is uncertain. General feedback. This feedback aims at broad issues which cannot be easily defined. Insensitive feedback. Such feedback has little concern for the needs of the other person. In fact, it has little concern for the emotional intelligence of the other person. How does this person receive my feedback? I don't care. I am insensitive to their needs. I'm insensitive to how they feel, and it is wrong. It is the wrong way to give feedback. Attacking. Do you know that attacking somebody is also a form of feedback? There are people that when you ask questions, simple questions, they begin to become very aggressive. And they just focus on your own weakness and begin to lash back at you. Some are disrespectful, almost insulting. Some give feedback at the wrong time. Some are impulsive, all right, without even thinking about it. Some are judgmental. Their feedback is prejudiced and they judge the personality instead of the behavior. Some feedback meets only the giver's needs rather than the needs of the other person. That's the selfish feedback. And that one is supportive feedback. This feedback is delivered in a non-threatening and encouraging manner. These are the good feedbacks now, right? The good feedbacks are these ones I'm about to mention. Supportive, helpful. This feedback is meant to be of value to the other person. Descriptive. This feedback focuses on behavior that can be changed rather than the person's personality. This feedback that is sensitive considers the other person, takes into consideration the needs of the other person. And that feedback that is good is the direct feedback. It is focused, it is clear. There's no vagueness associated with it. Another feedback that is direct. Another one is healthy timing. It's given at the opportune time. Another one is thoughtful. The feedback is well thought out. It's not impulsive at all. Another one is specific feedback, which focuses on behavior or events. So these are the examples or the types of feedback that we share. If you want to influence people, you should be careful about the feedback you are giving and the feedback you are receiving. Okay, let's go to the next slide. How to influence people. How to influence people. The power of influence can be learned and developed into an art. Influence is at the core of everything we do. Employers influence employees to be productive. Parents influence children to do their chores. Children influence parents to get what they want. Spouses influence each other to live peaceably with each other. Hence, it is important that you should learn how to influence people. So very quickly, I'll be sharing with you key steps on how to influence people. There are strategies. You can make use of any one of them. Number one, know what you want. What is your purpose of influencing others? Is it to persuade them to achieve a goal? Or is it to manipulate them? That's not a good one. You should know why you are influencing people. You must have a definite end in mind. By the time I've influenced them, they should want to go back to school. They should want to desire to improve on themselves. They should want to search for their purpose, and discover their purpose and try to fulfill it. Why are you influencing people? Next one is that you have to impress. Impress others through your charm and your speech patterns. Remember that people want to please someone they admire and respect. So if they have no value for you, why would they want to learn it? Why would they even want your influence? Reward them. Money is always a motivator. If I said I'll be sharing $1,000 in this class, everybody, in fact, there'll be no room for us. But now that is knowledge, you see that the class will be scanty. Money is a motivator, always a motivator. So it may be the easiest and quickest way to get what you want, but it can be expensive. Now, number 4, reason with them. Explain your position. Focus on the answer to their burning question, because their burning question is this: what is in it for me? What's in it for me? What do I stand to achieve? What do I stand to benefit? At the end of the day, that's what anybody you are talking to, you're trying to influence, will ask you. Then another one is compromise. Getting someone to do what you want often involves communication and negotiation. This is where you can take the I'll scratch your back and scratch my back approach. Communicate. We've talked about the 7 C's of communication. Communication is the key to influence. Clear and effective communication will lead others to your viewpoint. Remain consistent. Stay on the course you choose rather than on the consequences. If you flip-flop, it's a sure way to destroy any influence you might develop. Be the expert. Whether you like it or not, people respect authority figures. When you become the expert, you have the power of influence on your side. Study, learn, so that when you speak with authority. Actively listen. If you want to be able to influence people, then you have to be able to listen. Actively listening is part of effective communication, which is essential to influencing those around you. Be likable. If you want to influence others, they have to like you. If they don't like you, they don't care what you think. They don't care what you are saying. Okay? It's very, very key. If you show a genuine interest in others and care about them, they usually will want you to influence them. Okay? Show confidence. If you speak with confidence, people will trust your advice. This makes it easier to influence others to see things your way. And be authoritative. Speak with authority. Speak using powerful, emotionally charged words to persuade others. You want to influence people and say, what I'm saying is that if we engage in this business, we will get the results. Nobody's going to follow you like that. You have to sound powerfully forceful, all right? Passionate, enthusiastic about what you're sharing with them. Brand yourself. People love brand power. If you can brand yourself as the go-to man, others will spread the word about you. That's influence. You are more likely to be heard if you are respectful of others. So respect people. We said it before and we'll say it again. Use scarcity. People assign more value to objects and opportunities that come in limited quantities. So don't try to influence others too often. If you do, it will seem genuine. Understand the other person's point of view. Demonstrate that your point of view also reflects their beliefs and viewpoints. And be patient. Number 17. Be patient. It may take several tries to convince others, but be patient yet persistent. Admit your mistakes. When you are wrong, just say that you are wrong. People will remember you as being fair and honest. They will remember you as an arrogant person. Number 19, highlight what you have in common. Find a common thread, and begin to build your influence from there. When you really want to influence people, make sure that there is a level of commonality between you and those people you want to influence. If there is no level of commonality, you are there on your high horse. Nobody wants to be a part of what it is you are doing, no matter how noble what you want to do is. Okay? Then, any chance you get, practice the technique of persuasion. is really essential. You know, that power that makes you say one thing over and over, and then people begin to buy into what you're saying. Practice really does make perfect. Keep practicing. Research facts and arguments that prove your point of view. Make sure that you don't carry wrong research. Research properly. Get from very authentic sources. Ask questions. It may seem silly, but sometimes just asking someone to do what you want can get them to do it. Just make sure you say please and thank you at the end. So say please at the beginning and say thank you at the end. Be positive. Influence others with a sunny disposition, not gloom. Bring them hope, not gloom. And number 24, get endorsement. People love to follow the trends set by others. Get someone notable to endorse you, and you are sure to influence the masses. Every influencer needs an influencer. That may be funny, sound like a touche, but it is really true. All right. So remember, we talked about emotional intelligence, and we said that in emotional intelligence, especially social awareness, you are able to tune into the feelings of others so that you'll be able to relate with them because you understand why they do what they do. So in order to influence people, you have to control the actions and attitudes of others by tuning into them emotionally. The only way you'll be able to influence others is when you learn to control the actions and attitudes of people, not in a manipulative way, not in an intimidating way, but in a way that shows that you are super emotionally intelligent, okay? Now, the following are some of the key points to keep in mind in order to control the actions and attitudes of people. Watch your posture at all times. How many of you remember the posture of the school teacher I talked about? Your posture matters. I don't know how many of you remember that during the President Jonathan era, there was a lot of talk, a lot of chatter about his body posture. So they kept talking about the reason why the country is not working, that he has a body posture that shows that he is weak. And they kept talking about a weak leader, a weak president, and eventually people got to believe it and accept it, and he lost his influence. Okay, so watch your posture at all times. What posture are you portraying? We have to adopt the attitude we want others to express. And when we speak out, let us speak out with confidence and with grit. Let us speak like we know what we are saying, like we are passionate about it. People react and respond in a like manner to the attitude and action expressed by you. Whenever you are in public, hold your head up and display a positive body language at all times, no matter how bad things are with you. Okay? Remember to be enthusiastic, because enthusiasm is contagious and it spreads from one person to another. So does indifference and lack of enthusiasm. You know that you can choose to be confident or you can be diffident. Confidence breeds confidence. If we believe in ourselves and act as if we believe in ourselves, others will eventually believe in us. So begin today to develop an enthusiastic, confident attitude and manner. You want to attract people, because without influence, you can't attract people. The key to influencing others is by attracting them to you. You can use the following words to attract people towards yourself. There are 3 A's involved: acceptance, approval, and appreciation. By acceptance, it is essential to accept people as they are. Stop trying to change people. Accept them to be themselves. Those who accept and like people and accept them just as they are have the most influence in changing other people's behavior for the better. Approval of another person means something more positive, as it goes beyond just tolerating faults and looking for something you don't like in the other person. You can always find something to approve in the other person. It could be what they are wearing. Don't be fake about it. If what they are wearing is not nice, leave what they are wearing. Talk about their disposition, that they look sunny, they look happy, they look cheerful. Don't give fake compliments, but always show approval. Find something you like in the other person. Then, to appreciate people means to raise their person's value and worth. Oh, you're doing a good job. I've noticed that since you joined this company, you have always kept a smiling face. Thank you for that. Thank you for bringing sunshine our way. Don't overdo it before they think you are sending other kind of signals, okay? But you can show appreciation to people through the following ways. Don't keep people waiting for too long. Thank people and treat them like they are special. Eventually, everybody will be like, you're not the only one he's treating special. He treats all of us special. That way, nobody will read exceptional meaning into your goodness, okay? Now, it's important for us to create a good impression to influence. And how do we create a good impression? Don't wear a disguise. People are much smarter than you realized. The conscious mind may not be smart enough to analyze and see through the disguise that people wear, but our subconscious mind does identify the fakeness and disguise that people put on. There will be a time you'll be like, I don't know what it is about this person, but I think this person is fake. And you keep saying it over and over again. Eventually, you find out that this person is just portraying a fake disposition. That person is phony in nature. And nobody likes to follow a phony person. Don't knock the competition. Never try to humiliate others if you want to make a good impression. Instead, boost your own image. Not only do people dislike negative talk, but you are also setting a negative environment is emotion. So don't do that. Learn to communicate effectively. One thing influential people have in common is the skill in using words. They learn to communicate openly, honestly, and passionately in order to impress people. Let me tell you one more thing. If you really want to impress people, please don't try to be perfect. No one is fascinated by a perfect person, right? They'll look at you. The next thing, they'll begin to look for faults, envy. They'll ridicule you, try to reduce you so that you'll be at par with them. Get people to talk more about themselves. If you want to impress others, then show a genuine interest in the other person's opinions and views. If you can stimulate others to talk, you will acquire a good reputation as a good conversationalist as well as a good person, and then they will be happy they talked to you. They will feel good speaking with you. Try not to tease. Don't be sarcastic. Both teasing and sarcastic remarks are aimed at self-esteem of others. Do not tease or pass sarcastic comments as they threaten the self-esteem of the other person and make you less likable. Show appreciation to other people. To influence people, it is important that you interact with them in such a way that you demonstrate your care. Your co-workers feel cherished when you are dealing with them as if you really do care about them and you appreciate them. When you do, they will like you for it. You can show appreciation every day when dealing with people. You can tell your colleagues, your co-workers, your employees how much you value them and their contribution any day of the year. You can build your influence in leaps and bounds by showing your appreciation of people that work around you. In fact, small surprises and tokens of your appreciation spread throughout the year can help people in your workplace feel valued all year long. Now, we talked about this in the earlier module. We talked about influence and self-confidence. We said there's a relationship between influence and self-confidence. And we talked about optimal types of self-confidence, the optimal type, the false confidence, and also the diffident confidence. So let's talk about influence and personality. Different traits in a person help shape their complete personality. Personality plays a major role in influencing people. You should always have a positive, cheerful, strong, and confident personality in order to influence people. Hence, personality equals to qualities plus abilities plus weaknesses. There are different qualities and abilities that a person may possess, such as analytical abilities, communication abilities, decision-making skills, discretion, interpersonal skills, risk-solving skills, positive thinking, presentation skills, problem-solving skills, team-building skills, innovative abilities, and even a willingness to learn. When people have such personality, it will definitely affect the influence level they have with others, because people like the one that can solve problems, the one that can do things, the one that can achieve things. All right, that's it. And then let's talk about influence and self. What do we mean when we say self? Self means the essential qualities distinguishing one person from another. Self is the individuality of a person. Now, I want us to do something very reflective. If you're still with me in this class, type 3. If you're still with me in this class, type 3. Awesome, awesome. All right, I see your 3 is coming in. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Afalabi. Thank you, Mr. Etubi Abraham. All right, let's keep the 3 rolling in. I'd like you to take some time to understand yourself. Have you ever spent time thinking of your own self? You should understand yourself first to be able to influence other people. Now, sit back for 2 minutes and answer these questions. Who am I? Do I like myself? Because believe me when I tell you, it is important for you to like yourself. If you don't like yourself, people will make you hate yourself. So you have to like yourself to a large extent that whether people praise you or mock you, you are okay within yourself. Will others like me if I like myself? Will others like me if I don't like myself? What is my self-image? What do others think of my self-image? Is it true or is it false? I want you to screenshot this particular page on your screen. The one before this, the reflective questions. Please take me back one slide. Please, everybody, just screenshot it. Take time to answer these questions when you get back. Okay, later in the day, maybe at night or first in the morning. And really, really take time to ask yourself these questions, because that is the base of everything. If you don't know yourself before you want to now influence people, you will lose yourself when influence comes. You will lose yourself when the crowds begin to clap for you. You will lose yourself when you have so many followers. Someone like me, I have so many followers on social media, but it does not in any way make me lose sense of who I am and how I love myself and what my strengths and my weaknesses are. I know myself. You will do yourself a whole world of good if you can sit back and reflect on that. All right, let's move on. We as individuals are always comparing ourselves to others and find something nice to say about others. But can you just take a little time and say something nice about yourself and stop comparing yourself to others? We have to take out time to think of our own self and try to find out and understand what is good about ourselves. We have to learn about ourselves to be able to better portray ourselves to other people before we can even talk of influencing them. As a person, it is important that we understand ourselves well and know ourselves better. Only then will we have high self-esteem and happiness. So at this point, let's talk about influence and self-esteem. Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. Do you feel good? Do you feel like an important person? Do you feel like you're a boring person? Do you feel like you are an engaging person? Do you feel like you are fun to be around? I know that our class has always been has sometimes been an online class, but even with the online class, you can tell, you know, so with the tone of voice, you can tell the personality of a person. You can tell somebody who really likes themselves and somebody who hates themselves and somebody who is not even confident about themselves. So how much do you like yourself? Your self-esteem is your feeling of your self-worth. Do you think you are important? Do you think you matter? Let me share with you the importance of self-esteem. High self-esteem creates the confidence in a person to become influential and become successful. You perform better both personally and professionally when you consider yourself worthy. So what are the factors that influence self-esteem? Your self-beliefs. What do you believe about yourself? Do you think you are worthy? Do you think you're wonderful? Do you think you're in a class all by yourself? Your physical appearance. How do you look? But most importantly, how do you think you look? Do you like what you see in the mirror? Or do you hate yourself when you look at the mirror? This will affect your self-esteem. What do other people tell you? Do they tell you look gorgeous, you look beautiful, you look handsome? And what's your family environment? Are they filled with toxic people? Or are they filled with people that empower you? All these 4 factors will determine a person's self-esteem. Quickly, we'll be looking at the characteristics of the person with low self-esteem and the characteristics of the person with high self-esteem. Somebody with low self-esteem will always be afraid of competition and challenges, will lack initiative, will be very pessimistic. Everything is bad. Country, scatter, scatter, jaga, jaga, nothing is working in my life. They'll be shy. They won't want to be around people. They're very indecisive. They can't even make any decision. They don't know if they want this or that or this or that or that other one or that other one. You know, they don't accept themselves. They have what we call lack of self-acceptance. But honestly, you need to grow up to the point where you accept yourself. You are different. You're unique. There's nobody like you. There must be a high point about you. No matter who you are, there is a high point about you. See, I know all of us are hiding behind our devices and behind our phones, but there is something, in fact, there are people who think you're a big deal. Let me tell you this. Surround yourself with people who think you're a big deal. Can we just type that in the comment section? I will surround myself. I will surround myself with people who think I'm a big deal. Later, type it in your phone. Make it a practice. You see all those people that when you meet them, you feel smaller. I know people like that too. When you meet them, you feel smaller than you are. Just avoid them. You feel smaller, not because of what you did, but because of how they treat you. Thank you, Mr. Etubi Abraham. I will surround myself with people who think I am a big deal. You're a big deal. No matter who you are, no matter where you are. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel Lafolabi. Surround yourself with people who think you're a big deal because you are a big deal. People with low self-esteem, they blame others and they have low aspirations. Now, there is this other set of people who have high esteem. How do we know them? They consider life worth living. They enjoy good relationships with others. They have peace within themselves. They are very outgoing. They are self-confident. They assume responsibility for their own life. They tolerate frustration. They know that some days will be bad days, but well, there's gonna be good days. And they direct themselves. They don't allow their woes or challenges to direct them. They direct themselves. So if you're out there, if you're in this class and you want to enhance your self-esteem, number one step, accept yourself as you are and come to terms with those aspects of yourself that you cannot change. Manage yourself with success. No one is perfect. Not even your TV idol or movie idol. Each one of us is unique and has specific talents and abilities. We have to take responsibility to appreciate ourselves and develop our own talents. In order to enhance your self-esteem, please don't wait for approval from others. Do what you got to do. Do what you love to do. Accept yourself. And most importantly, love yourself. Now, we are on to the next part. We want to talk about negotiation and self-esteem. Negotiation skills to be able to influence people. Negotiation to influence. Negotiation occurs whenever two or more conflicting parties attempt to resolve their divergent goals by redefining the terms of their interdependence. Negotiation skills are an important attribute of an influential person. Every influential person knows how to negotiate. Negotiation skills in a person helps the people to see you as a compromising and helpful individual. The best alternative to a negotiated agreement is the lowest acceptable value to an individual for a negotiated agreement. That's what we call BATSTA. Now look at the ways to influence people, especially through negotiation. Support your ideas with data. To influence a team or a meeting, executives need to clearly present their ideas and their thoughts with facts or information to support it. Many people respond positively when a view is supported with data or something concrete. Some background research will pay you big time. If you get some information that will add credibility to your argument, your chance of influencing the cause or facts will be very high. Next way is to say it straight. The skill of influencing people largely depends on the way you put across your point of view. Human resource experts say that executives should communicate their point of view in a way that makes a direct impact. This is true both for human resource and for emotional intelligence. Both the substance and the way you put it across plays a big role in influencing. So carefully choose your words. Choose the timing. Choose the forum. And choose the way you put your view across. Say it with a lot of conviction because it will create greater impact for you. Next way is to develop an informal channel. You need this to be able to influence. Apart from the formal influence, which is done during meetings, informal influencing of people, of the key people is important. Such informal influence can be done in office corridors, by walking into their cubicle, or even in a canteen over lunch. Build a network with colleagues and a good working relationship with key officials during such and key officials during such informal encounters and convey your point of view as if you were thinking about it. Now, build a consensus. A good leader, it is said, is one who listens more and talks less. Hence, he is able to influence most people. Such an approach helps to gain the confidence of teammates, listen and understand their point of view. At a senior level, directing someone will have little influence. The best influencing style is probing, consulting, and questioning because it helps you to gain consensus. And be committed. The biggest impact will depend on how a professional lives up to his commitment and whether or not he or she is a man of action. But don't commit to something that you may not be, that may be difficult to achieve. If you cannot follow what you preach, then the next time your colleagues or subordinates will not listen to you and they won't even take you at face value. Now, in module 1, we talked about different personalities and different behaviors. But here we're going to be looking at how to influence different personalities. You all will agree with me that influencing different kinds of people is not always easy because they have different personalities, okay? So let's understand let's understand the different types of personalities and most importantly, how to influence them. We'll be looking at 3 categories of people: the mediocre people, the difficult people, and the brilliant people. Now, the mediocre people are extremely ordinary, average, second rate, middle of the road employees with a very minimal contribution coming out from them. Now, how do you influence them? You have to avoid conflicts, okay? So that you can get the best out of them, because these people, they can they can be very troublesome when it comes to conflict. So keep an open communication channel, give feedback to these employees to help them progress, respect them as important individual, give positive feedback in public. But when you want to give reprimands, do it in private. If not, before you know it, all of them will just gang up against you. So bring the best out of them. All right, that's how you deal with them. Now let's talk about difficult people. These ones, they have a very wide range of personality types, including from being inconsiderate, insane, incorrigible, inappeasable. These people are indecent. Some of them are downright sleazy. So please, when dealing with them, you want to influence them, engage them in conversation so that you know their line of thought, you know where they're going to. Then celebrate the accomplishments of short-term goals, repeat process until long-term goals have been achieved. For difficult people, use constructive confrontation to resolve or even prevent conflicts and build coalition. These difficult people would demand every diplomatic gene and strand inside of you. Be as diplomatic as possible. Respect them as an important individual and use your good judgment, and don't act upon your emotions because they will provoke. They can provoke. So remain level-headed and strong no matter how they react. For the brilliant people, they are those who are considered to be luminous. They are radiant, dazzling, sparkling, gleaming, shining, and bright. They are the kinds of people who are timed to be gifted and talented, and they take a great pride in their accomplishments. Now, how do you deal with them? Tap onto the brilliant people's belief that efficiency and effectiveness will give results. Tap onto their energy, their enthusiasm, initiative, drive, and inspiration to influence them. Display similar traits as them because they identify with people who exhibit the same kind of attributes, characteristics, and traits. Influence them by using your communication skills, as they are great communicators and they portray a very positive body language. Influence them by your ability to think out of the box. They like this, as they do not dwell on the problems but come out with solutions. Understand what makes a brilliant person tick. Tap on their need for upgrading their skills, knowledge, and attitude. Cater to their demands in terms of power, prestige, status, designation, pay packets to influence them. Do not involve them in any routine or mundane matters. They don't like it because they are the brilliant folk. All right, let's talk about the tips for influencing people. I'm hoping to run this class up by 5. So that's why I am on the speed lane, but we're getting there. As we begin to round up, I'd like to share with you the tips for influencing people. The following are useful tips to influence people. Number 1, make friends quickly and easily. Be an attractive person, not just physically attractive, but have this aura around you that tells somebody you can be comfortable in my presence, okay? Then get out of a mental rut. Think new thoughts, acquire new visions, discover new ambitions, okay? Win people to your way of thinking by understanding their viewpoint, and then increase your popularity, all right? Stand for something, be authoritative about a particular subject matter. People will want to be more interested in you. Okay, so the next one will be handle complaints, avoid arguments, keep your human contact smooth and pleasant. Increase your influence. Okay, if you want to influence people, increase your influence. your prestige, your ability to get things done, and become a better speaker, a more entertaining conversationalist. People want to engage with that person who talks well, who speaks sensibly. You know, there are people that you hang around and you feel smarter in just 1 minute because they are making sense. All right. When you talk to people, make sense on time. All right. Don't bore people. People, there's no time. Okay. So don't waste the time of people. Arouse enthusiasm among associates. Let them see you as a person of passion. Let them see you executing your dreams and your passion. And when they see you doing that, wow, you will be a very influential person. Now, can I have just 2 people in this class? I want us to handle a particular case study. It is time for case study. All right. So George Hackman is a project manager in Globus Incorporated. He leads a team of 15 people, but feels that he's not very influential. Based on all that you have learned, I want just 2 people. One person to answer the first question, another person to answer the second question. How can George become more influential? Then the second person should answer, what aspects of communication and personality should he focus on to build influence? Now, the floor is open. You can raise your hand if you have an answer to this. This is a case study, and I really want to hear your wonderful voice. So please, let's go ahead. The floor is yours. Who is going to answer the first question and who is preparing to answer the second question? Do I have any hands up? You can read the case study again for better understanding. You're talking about one guy they call George Hackman. He's a project manager. 15 people are under him, but George feels that he's not very influential. How can we help George? How can we help Mr. Hackman? He wants to be more influential and he needs to focus on an aspect of his communication and personality. What should he do? Please, do I have any hands up? Hands up, hands up. If you are following us from YouTube, please, you can drop your answers on the YouTube comment section, as YouTube will not allow us to raise our hands to answer questions. So please, let's go ahead. Lady Mary, you want to attempt? Or Mr. Emmanuel? Mr. Tubi, are you still on school run? Who would want to attempt? I really want to know what you think. Yay, somebody's about to answer. All right, let's hear from you. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
George needs to work on his personality.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to work on his self-esteem first.
Very important, yeah.
He needs to work on his self-esteem first. Needs to like himself and see himself that he's capable of doing it.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Is that all?
For now.
All right. Thank you so much for answering the question. You see, he was very right by saying that George needs to work on his personality, you know, have some confidence. You are leading 15 people, 15, that's a crowd. You should give yourself some credit. It's not by chance that you are a leader of 15 people, okay? And you're the project manager. So you need to build on your self-esteem and know that you are capable. And then next, you really have to communicate. As a project manager, I'm sure you have something in your head, but then you have 15 brains plus your own. Nobody says that you are the one that must make all the decision. Nobody says that you are the one that must say all the right things. So give everybody an opportunity to share something. You may be surprised as they begin to share. They may share a lot of wisdom that when you now begin to work on your project, that project becomes a huge, huge success. And this is how George can become more influential. All right, please, if you have more answers, please feel free to drop in the comment section or the chat room in case you don't want to say anything in class. So at this point, we come to the summary of our module. In this module, you have learned that influence is how you inspire others to take action. We have been able to see our last page. Influence is how you inspire others to take action. Influence measures what others do for you. And we talked about the key principles of influencing people. We said, number one, commitment and consistency. We talked about reciprocation. We talked about scarcity. We talked about authority. We talked about liking and social proof. And we said that there are various ways to influence people. And it includes support your ideas with data, say it straight, develop an informal channel, make people feel important, and so many other things we said today. But I am so excited and glad about your followership in class, your attentiveness, and I really want to appreciate everyone who has been a part of this class. I celebrate you, I celebrate the work you do, and I know that as you begin to practice all you have learned, you'll become a highly emotional, intelligent professional. And not only that, you'll be able to influence people wherever you go. It's 5 p.m. Thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of the class, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye for now. Thank you. Let me hand over to the coordinator. Our coordinator, Mr. Damilola, will be rounding up this class. Thank you so much for being a part of this class. Good night.
Wow. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Ifeoma for this amazing, insightful, informative, and inspiring section we just enjoyed. Please, can we appreciate Dr. Ifeoma, please? Can we appreciate Dr. Ifeoma? We've learned how to appreciate people. I mean, we should have discovered that she's so influential. So please, let's appreciate her. It has been so practical, and we've learned a lot. All right. Okay, somebody is commenting. Mr. Emmanuel again. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Please, let's appreciate Dr. First. Please, let's appreciate Dr. First. That's very important. It's also appreciative way. We learn how to appreciate those that have given us what we are not expecting. I mean, she has done extremely well today. And thank you to all those who stayed back for the to the end of this section. That's so encouraging. We have a lot of people that want to join through the back door, but because they've not made commitment towards the training, that's the reason why they have to go to the other route. And I feel we have few people from the YouTube channel as well. So for today, we have to close so we can rest and prepare for tomorrow. All right, the class for tomorrow continues by 10 a.m. We started around 9:30 today because of the orientation, but tomorrow, by God's grace, it will be by 10 a.m. and we are going to stick to time. Please, let's find time to prepare ahead and also be ready to participate fully. So because of our time, I would like to call on Dr. Banito to brief us for any announcement. I posted a particular link on the comments section. That is the new WhatsApp group we can join. If you are not in that first one that we were told that is filled up already, you can click on this one and it take you to the next group. Thank you. All right, over to you, Dr. Banito.
All right, Dami, thank you so much for the wonderful coordination today. And a glorious thanks to Dr. Ifeoma. It has been a wonderful day with you, and I trust all of us had learned one thing or the other, and we are gradually building towards becoming emotionally intelligent professionals. Thank you so much, Dr. Ifeoma, for your time. And it wasn't easy. If not that you're an emotionally intelligent person, I'm sure with the circumstances that prevail today is enough to say you won't be able to continue with the class, but you were able to pull through. Thank you so much. And we're grateful for all of the sacrifices. Thank you. And to all of the people in class, thank you so much for the time you've committed to building your capacity today. And I trust that as this class is rounding up with the 3 sections we've already had today, you would have learned and built something inside of you. Thank you and thank you. Now, for all the people that have paid so far, thank you. For all the people that we couldn't admit because you have not paid, thank you also for being in the waiting room. And for those that are joining us on YouTube, thank you. I will just pass a very brief announcement, just remind us, and we'll call it a time. Please, let's be reminded that the class continues tomorrow by 10 a.m., not 9 a.m., it's 10 a.m. prompt tomorrow. And the facilitator for tomorrow will be Major General Delia Rogundade and Dr. Michael Ikenokafo. So please just make sure that you are around. Don't be late, okay? Don't be late. And then if you've not made your payment, please note tomorrow's section is strictly for those that have paid, okay? And if at this point you've not seen reason why you should pay, then we might not be able to prove otherwise again. All right? But this is the best time and the best opportunity for you to build your competency, your EI competency, and also to earn an internationally recognized certificate around its content. Now, for members of IPM, your course fee is $24,850 or $25. For non-members, is $34,850 or $35. Please, the payment information is on the screen. You can go ahead and make your payment. Okay. If you come back to class tomorrow without making payment, that means all of what we've been teaching is not for you. Being emotionally intelligent is not for you. Okay, so the most emotionally intelligent thing to do is to make your payment and then be in class tomorrow. All right. Now, also be reminded that this course is a 3-level program. We'll have the basic certificate course in emotional intelligence, which is what we are currently doing. Then after this, we'll have level 2, which is certified associate emotional intelligence course. And then level 3, which is the certified senior emotional intelligence professional. And after you've completed these 3 levels and you wish to become a chartered emotional intelligence expert, then opportunity will be unveiled or open for you. Now, for the fees associated with these programs and the discounts currently ongoing, for level 1, members are meant to pay an actual fee of about $75,000 or $75, $100,000 or $100 for non-members. But at the discounted fee, we're giving it for $24,850 for members, that's $25, and $34,850 or $35 for non-members. And I think we have done the best we can do. Okay, we have done the best we can do in terms of discount. So please take note of that. And then for the associate level, you have $150 and $175 for members and non-members respectively. Now, the current discount is 75,000 naira and 85,000 naira. That's half of each. That's 50% discount on each. Now, in this curriculum that we are running, for the fact that you've paid for level 1, we are running level 1 and level 2 at the same time. Now, that's the training. Now, if you wish to get your level 2 at the same time, you are welcome. But level 3 has another curriculum that will run independent. Okay, so you can get your level 1 and level 2 at the same time because we're running the 2 curricula together. But level 3 is different. And for you to become chartered, like I said, you need to complete level 1, level 2, and level 3 before you go apply for Chartered. We are not the ones giving you Chartered. Chartered is given by the Chartered Institute of Management Consultants, USA. So it's an international, it's a certification given by an international body, right? Of course, we understand that there are quite a number of people joining us here from other countries. So anywhere you present your certification, it has relevance. Now, the criteria for certification is 100% attendance, micro presentation, assessment and evaluation, and then certificate validation and issuance. I explained some of this in the morning. Now we have other programs still coming up, and we also encourage you to find the ones that suit your development needs and be part of it. Now, if not directly for you, if you have others, you want to be part of this, please, you can invite them to this program. Now, for our membership, for those of us that want to be members of IPM, we've also exemplified these discounts also available between the discount opened in June and it's going to be open June 18th. It's going to be open till July 20th. So if you want to become a member, our induction is holding. The induction ceremony begins from 6 to 8. So you have all your lectures and everything before your induction properly. Now, please note that the induction, by paying for this membership, you get to have an additional certification or additional certificate in management consulting. So you get to have that for free instead of a paid independent program. Okay, so you get to have your professional membership certificate and then your management consulting certificate. So you can take the advantage right now and then go ahead and make the payments as it relates to you. But please note, for you to qualify as an associate, you need 3 to 7 years work experience. For you to qualify as a full member, you need 8 to 40 years work experience. And to qualify as a fellow, you need 50 years plus work experience. Now, all payments should be made to the account on the screen. And then your proof of payment sent to finance at iipmi.org. We look forward to having you make the choice to be part of IPM. In case you're not yet a member, please take that advantage. Now, with IPM, there is what we call priority support. As a member, there is what we call priority support. So you see, most of the people that attended in the morning, and even now, they are members. Some of them are coming for refresher courses, and they are not paying a dime for this. Some of them are coming completely new, and then they have discount for it. Now, apart from this, they also have what we call priority support. Priority support is given to members who have special needs. Yes, if you make the payment for the 2, you get the 2 at once. Okay, because we are covering the 2 modules. Okay, if you make the payment for the 2,
Doctor, are you still there?
okay, sorry for that network glitch. So I said, if you're paying for the 2, you get to have the 2. But like I said, your basic certificate is soft copy. So between Saturday and Friday next week, you get your soft copies. But you only get hard copy because your level 2 comes with a seal. it comes with a seal. So your level 2 comes with a seal. So your recognition as a professional emotional intelligence expert start from level 2. So you get a certificate with a seal. Okay. But your level 1 is a soft copy only. There is no seal to that. All right. And then level 3 is independent training. Okay, now Mr. Manuel said, okay, 28 plus 750, that's 99,850. Okay, yes, that's right. Now it to be said, can one pay for membership and attend the induction without necessarily paying for level? Yes, sure. Sure, you can pay. Now, what we advise in IPM is if you're interested in membership, then pay for your membership, then take courses, right? Because when you pay for your membership, you have a whole lot of discounts and other benefits to enjoy. But if you take courses before paying for induction, there is actually some sort of accumulation of bills. But like instance, Mr. Emmanuel paid for his membership. I think he paid for his membership in June. Okay, and he's already enjoying the discount of the trainings he's already having. Even with the fact that he has not officially been inducted, but for the fact that he has paid, we see him as a member. So every other benefit goes to him. So if we advise you, always advise, pay for your membership and then take courses. And that's part of the things we get to as priority support. Priority support. Okay, Mr. A2B Emmanuel. Okay. All right. Please, if you have questions, comments, feel free to let me know if you have any question, if you have any comments before we shut down for today. Okay, before we shut down for today. If you have any question, if you have any comments, please let me know. Thank you so much. Question, comments. Okay, in the chat room, I'm saying, okay, thank you. Any other question? Okay, so if there is no other question, I will be handing over back to the coordinator to close the section for today. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Banito. Thank you, everybody. Mr. Emmanuel Afolabi, Mr. A2B Hay Brown, Mr. Isaac Obajem, Mrs. Mary Omeza, and Mr. Hude Lawrence. Thank you for your participation. By God's grace, tomorrow, we continue from where we stop and see you in class. Please don't forget to reach out to your colleagues and friends to also join us. Thank you. Bye-bye.